Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is the Mad Pharmacist herself, Stephanie Primo.
Hello, from Seattle.
From Seattle. Hi,
In
Stephanie.
person.
In person. How are you?
I'm doing better.
Better.
I'm still tired, but
Yeah.
in the middle of it all, having a lot of fun. Hanging with my besties, playing games.
Yeah. This West Coast time isn't treating us East Coasters very well.
No. But I'm happy you're here.
I'm happy you're here. You know who else I'm happy I'm here? PK Power Pack Klein.
Yeah, I'm so happy I got to change out my pants and put on my shorts.
Oh.
Wow.
Is it after dark?
I don't know. They were talking about some pretty
shorts.
pigs and getting on your knees earlier before we started recording. And
That was classic Suikoden 2 villain Luca Blight.
So I have something to look forward to.
Yikes.
Great.
Speaking of something to look forward to, also here is that retro code Eddie V.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Boss Rush crew. It is so good to be here in Seattle for PAX West 2024. Glad to be with you guys, playing games.
Person, like we can
talking
actually
games.
touch these people.
Yeah,
That's right.
There's been a lot of touching.
A lot of threatening towards me.
Yeah, well, that's normal. Just now I can actually do it because you're 10 feet away from me instead of, I don't know how far Cleveland is from Chicago. 5 hours, 6
6
hours.
hours,
Something-
actually.
Whatever. It's fine. Worth the drive. Everybody feeling okay?
Does he look evil?
Yes.
He
That's-
looks evil. That's the most evil.
looks like a Dollar General version of Fire Emblem character.
Oh,
Okay.
you tell him that to his face, and you will be suffering, sir.
Apparently, I'll be on my hands and knees like a pig. And
Look at that! Look at that evilness! You can't see it, but there it is.
Oh boy!
Good thing he's fictional.
Everybody having a good time though? Is everybody?
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
a lot better than I did at East the first couple days. I was still trying to like feel it out, but you know, a lot of great people here, a lot of friends and new friends, old friends.
I was gonna say our friendships are deepening, our connections are
Rapidly expanding.
yes
Yeah.
rapidly,
Yeah.
especially with everybody recognizing the boss man on the floor.
Well,
Show floor.
Hold on. Let's recognizing's a strong word. I did have my Boss Rush shirt on
Yeah.
at appointments that I made,
Yeah.
but
I was wearing Boss Rush shirts, and no one's like, "Oh, Boss Rush, I know who you are."
look, a fan came up to me and specifically asked where you and LaRon were. Sorry, Pat. I only mentioned Stephanie and LaRon.
Well, probably because it's like a newer edition.
Yeah, I know. But,
Okay.
I said Stephanie's upstairs working hard to provide us content. I said Pat's here also.
Right.
They said, "Oh, cool," and then we took a picture and then he walked away.
I want to see a picture of the fan.
I don't have it. I didn't take it with my
Oh.
phone. He took
Yeah.
it.
All right. Sorry. Anyway,
Shout out to the fan at PAX West.
yes.
So
I wish I got to meet you. I hope you had fun at PAX.
yeah, if you're well, PAX will be over by the time this posts. But yeah, hope
Right
we
into the
saw
show.
you. Yeah, hope we saw you again. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna kind of talk about what's been going on and games we've played, and not a traditional episode, but you know, we got a lot of games to talk about and a lot of things to discuss. So I guess we'll go round robin. Stephanie, I'm gonna start with you because you're immediately to my right.
Okay.
We'll just, I don't know, until we get tired of talking, we'll go 1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1.
Okay. And just what we've seen so far the
yeah.
last 2 days.
Yeah, and if we've seen the same game or experienced
Okay.
the same thing, then
Sure.
we'll
I'll start off with the
converse
most
about it.
obvious one because I think almost all of us might have something to say about it, but that's Nintendo.
yeah.
Which I don't know why I have a slight twinge of guilt and shame when I say it, because I like PAX for the indies, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but it's Zelda.
primarily.
Come on.
Okay, so I got to demo The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom before it released. I also got to demo Mario Party Jamboree, but there's really nothing to say about it.
Sure, there is. It was amazing.
Echoes of Wisdom it just sealed the deal with quality and really gave me something to look forward to. Not to say that I thought it wasn't going to be a bad game. I don't, Nintendo would have to intentionally make it bad to have a bad Zelda game. And even the worst Zelda game is still better than a lot of games. But
I agree.
I just really enjoyed the echo mechanic. It was very intuitive. The art style is endearing, lots of comedy. And I'll let anyone else expand on it, but it really just stuck out. It was a great time.
Yeah, the writing really felt a lot like I was talking to Lasby about it. Paper Mario-esque.
Yes.
Very comedic, very
Quippy.
fun. Yeah, quippy is a great word for it. What I really liked about it was how, going in, they kind of have been saying, hey, you can kind of solve these puzzles any way you want, kind of like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And this whole time, I'm like, how, like, I see it in the trailers, like, okay, this little puzzle here, or we're gonna put a table here to make a staircase, whatever. And I was wondering how like the more complex puzzles would be solved. But as soon as the demo started, it starts in the jail cell. I guess a little minor spoilers for the section we played at PAX, but when you start in the jail cell and they teach you how, like, they immediately teach you how to get and like kind of get out without actually telling you, which is a great thing that Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild did, was just kind of like show you without telling, and it immediately clicked. I think this mechanic works better in the 2D space just from the 20 minutes that we played or so. And I I was excited for it, right? Because it's Zelda. I'm always excited for a new Zelda, but it went from like, yeah, I'll play it when it comes out, to like, I cannot wait to play this game.
I just wish they would come out with that Zelda amiibo, and I feel like it's not going to happen.
It's a two-way win for Nintendo, in a sense, because the day that we got to play it, they released their new trailer, and more people who are not here at PAX to play it, just seeing the trailer, they were just like, I went from, okay, yeah, I'll look into it, to this is my most anticipated game. It needs to drop, and I need to buy it. So it really just jumped from the trailer, and then for people who are here at PAX playing it, they were just like, oh yeah, this is an ultimate buy. Corey heard me tell the Nintendo rep that I'm like, Nintendo has a Game of the Year like nomination right here, right now. I mean, just for the 15-minute demo, you guys really, I mean, the team, I'm assuming it's Grezzo, they really made just a game that's going to make you want to play it all the way through by searching everywhere. What items can you use? How's the puzzles going to go? And everything. It's just like they're winning from a game that's not even out yet. So for a lot of people here at PAX, it's been long lines because everybody want to play it.
Yeah, I mean the lines today, people were tweeting out that they stood in line for 4 hours to play Zelda. And I'm like, man, you are a brave soul.
That's dedication.
But I mean, look, when I came as a fan the first or second time it must have been, because we were doing PAL Block, and it was the year that Wolfenstein and Crash came out, and Dead Cells was first publicly available to play. I stood in line for almost 3 hours, and there was nothing there. I mean, nothing like Mario or Zelda huge related, right? Because it was 2018. So,
and this is kind of the crazy thing with Zelda, because I'm assuming at E3 when Breath of the Wild was out and it was a playable demo, people waited in a long line for that. And remember, there was the E3 that was the only game Nintendo won, and it won E3. People came away impressed by it. So there's something about Zelda, these modern Zeldas now, that the Zelda team and maybe the side teams like Greco, they're doing something to make people more interested in the Zelda franchise while still keeping it fresh and innovative. People say they wanted a Zelda game, they got a Zelda game, and now everybody from watching the trailer to playing it is in.
Hmm.
So if this game come out maybe with 9s or 10s, just review wise, I mean, it's a possibility a game that people look at and be like, oh, that's for kids and stuff. It may take Game of the Year.
And it might be a Link Between Worlds situation, right? I mean,
Yeah.
remember when GameStop gave a Game of the Year that year, and everybody was like, "What? 3DS game won Game of the Year?" It's like, well, it was innovative, it was fun, it was a smart kind of sequel to a beloved game that, like, because that's always scary. A Link to the Past is like, you know, a scary game to touch,
Oh yeah.
and it's beloved by many, and they made it work, you know.
Yeah, so like Nintendo has a hit on their hand, and I know you touched on Mario Party Jamboree, but that is a game. We played the daily challenges. That is a game that's gonna make families have a really fun time. It's gonna bring out so many laughs, and it really feels like a game that's gonna lift up your spirits if you feel down and out. Like you play it, and maybe you're against the computer. You might be like, no, I can't do this. It's gonna bring some kind of joy out with you because while we was playing it, and even when you guys were switching on, off and on, I was laughing and having a good time. And it wasn't about even winning the stars. It was actually about the gameplay of the game. You know, Corey, you was doing the lava thing with us, and you won because you pressed the right blocks, and you had to be strategizing, and you don't know what the other players are thinking. I'm like, is he gonna
Oh,
press
it's
the Y?
all
X?
about the stars. It's a bloodbath.
Yeah.
And mark my words, we're gonna get another Mario Party session, but this time we're not doing 20 turns or whatever.
Sure we
did.
are. Sure we are. We're gonna do 50 turns. We're gonna be there for 6 hours.
But,
Book club.
yeah, but it's just like Nintendo this holiday season, just here even at PAX, they, just with the two games they got, it's giving us good indication that they got a strong fall on holiday because I'm like we still got Mario Brothership coming and there's something.
You say that title and add the correct and more superior brother into that as well.
Oh, Mario Luigi.
There you go.
Mario Luigi Brothership. And then we also, I think something is dropping in October from Nintendo. I don't forget which game it is, but it really looks like Nintendo has this fallen holiday looking really pretty good.
Yeah.
For us to,
Yeah, and you look at you even look at Nintendo's third-party lineup through the fall and into the spring, right? Like,
Epic Mickey.
yeah, Epic Mickey. I mean, there's 5 games coming out that week of Zelda alone, right? If you count like the Lollipop Chainsaw remaster and
Dragon Quest 3.
That's November.
that's November. Yeah,
Yeah, this one.
that's right. That's
it's
right
like 3 days
after.
after Mario Party,
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh,
or not Mario Party, Mario and
Mario
Luigi. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then, Renatus, that cool RPG, is coming out that week, and that's a crazy week. The Zelda week is a crazy week, and then we got Donkey Kong in January, and the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 remasters, and we still have Fantasian coming out. Like, there are a ton of Switch games coming.
That's why with that partner direct, like some of the good games is also jumping along with Donkey Kong, and it's just like even indies. It's just like Nintendo has a crazy lineup for the next, I'll probably say 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And we haven't even touched the successor whenever
Yeah.
Nintendo.
The more and more games that keep getting announced, like, the more and more this thing, it keeps getting pushed, because to be honest, to the general public, we're enthusiasts, so we want the new console, but to the general public, there's no reason, and we make up such a
Still sells
minority
like
of
a
the fan
hotcake.
base,
Yeah.
There's no reason to release this thing. The only reason would be to prevent piracy and the security aspects on a ancient system technology wise, right? So there's no reason for them to do this.
I think the only upset thing about the Nintendo booth is that they don't have the Zelda Nintendo's Lite to look at for the display because I want to
Yeah.
see it kind of in person. I kind of want to see the back.
Look, we've all seen gold Nintendo
Mhm.
consoles with Triforces
Yes,
on them.
they got the amiibo here, and I was just like,
Yeah,
I
but
need the amiibo, but
That
then they don't
helps,
got
awesome.
they don't got the system. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been cool. I was really impressed by Zelda. I mean, I'm sure we're going to be talking about it on Pal Block for. It's going to be a Breath of the Wild situation when we talk about it for a month, right? I mean, it's that good, in my opinion. And that was from 20 minutes of playing.
Yes.
So strong start to PAX. That was the first thing I played, so that's gonna be the first thing I bring here.
Yeah. Pat.
Well, I talked about Monster Hunter in a previous segment, so I should probably
No, talk about it because that's part of the YouTube stuff. This is
Okay.
the podcast.
so
stuff.
stick
Yeah.
with okay.
And I mean, you can do whatever you want, but yeah, I think people want to hear about Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Our audience, do you really want to hear about Monster Hunter?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't realize it was going to be that big of a game, but Capcom brought out Monster Hunter Wilds to PAX, the first showing here in the Americas, because we originally got a demo at Gamescom last week, so it's pretty big. And let me tell you, this Capcom is not playing around with Monster Hunter. They're trying to make this thing more mainstream than ever before.
It looks impressive.
It got the Fire Emblem Awakening
It's
deal with it.
Well, I think that was Worlds was the Fire Emblem Awakening, and this is going to be the Three Houses.
Actually, well,
no, I actually agree with him
My
because
Son of 4, because when Awakening came out, My Son of 4 for 3DS
Worlds.
was
Yeah.
big, and it.
Yeah.
I mean, those two came out and made people recognize those series. And next thing you know, World took off. All the other 3 Fire Emblem games just took off that era. Now, Three Houses is like that made it mainline franchise.
Sorry, we didn't mean to
yeah,
interrupt.
no. I have to say though, I would actually agree with Corey's stance because Three Houses had probably one of the most mature stories out of any of the Fire Emblems, and like really put that narrative on the forefront. And that's what I feel Wilds is doing because for like one of the very first times in the Monster Hunter mainline, this game has a legitimate like story going on. Your hunter now has a voice. He has cutscenes where he is speaking to important figures, and this is like this cutscene quality is what you see in Final Fantasy 16. Like they are very realistically detailed in a high fantasy world. The cutscenes are also in that like frantic action like style that Final Fantasy did a lot with some of their like action set pieces. Like I was like shocked just how much story was involved. The demo takes you to your hunter has been tasked to go to this land to investigate some strange things that are going on. And during a boat ride, you see a horde of monsters like chasing a villager, and your character goes out and heroically gets on another like bird, and runs through the hordes. Like you're watching your character kind of like zip through these like sand like kind of worm dragons that are just like jumping up and down out of the sand, and he's like grabbing like things from that pterodactyl birds are like flying around with, and he's shooting them to like stun those original monsters that are like sand fishing, while trying to save this kid that's riding this bird to try and get away from them. Like it's just frantic cutscenes. Debris is like falling all over the place. Like it's very impressive and not anything I've ever seen done in a Monster Hunter. But now you're asking, well, what about the gameplay? How does that match up? Like we've seen Worlds and then also Rise try to make the gameplay a little more easier A lot of people say that at Worlds, that's kind of changed the old school way of how Monster Hunter played to more like fluid and more easier way for people to get in. And I think Wild is doing another good job with it. They're giving you a lot more options on how to fight, making things a lot more easier. One of the things that they did was they added a focus button so that now when you hit, like before, yeah, you could kind of lock onto your enemy, but it didn't if unless you were actually like pointed in the direction, your swing would just go wherever you were like facing. But the focus kind of makes your character literally focus on the enemy. That's, focus. And so it helps because now you can actually attack the same spot of an enemy over and over, and it becomes wounded in that spot. So that now it will take more damage when you keep smacking. It's like a kind of like reddish sword that like glows a little bit to let you know where it is. And eventually, that's kind of how you break pieces off these creatures by attacking the points that you just keep on focusing on. So,
Yeah, it sounds. I was when we were talking about it on the YouTube segment, I was comparing it to Horizon Zero Dawn, like when the robot pieces fly off, or like when in Destiny when you're fighting the land tanks, like you have to hit it until the armor pieces fall off, and then there's like the glowing electrical boxes, and it's super.
yeah, now it's a
super
weakness.
Cool. Yeah.
So, the demo was absolutely phenomenal. The only thing I didn't really get to do was kind of explore the world. It was a pretty like streamlined to the monster. Well, at least it kind of felt that way. One, because I was under a time limit, and two, the story made it sound like you got to go rescue this person like stat. Um, but I've heard some pretty good things that like the maps are huge.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Well, that also is another part of the PAX area that the line was just obnoxiously
It's
long.
still that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I got severely lucky during
used
media
media
hour.
hour.
I used media hour, but the line, like I was probably about halfway, no, maybe a third of the into the line. But they were looking specifically for someone to play a single player version of the game. And me just being by myself, I'm like, yeah, I'll play single player. I don't need to join the multiplayer session. So there were two sessions going on, the single player and the multiplayer. So I decided to join the single player, and I literally got in as one of the first people to play the single player.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So
Yeah. Then they had the that giant bird raptor
I took a
thing.
picture on it.
It's true. It's actually the thumbnail for this episode.
I sent the picture to Laurent, hoping that he'd tell me what the creature's name was. But
it begins with an S. It's like it's a SKWEE.
dang it, Laurent! Embarrassing us on our podcast, not knowing what the name of the bird thing is.
Yeah.
He's busy living his life.
Best life. We love you, Laurent, and we miss you.
Some of
Not
us
that he
do.
listens to this.
No, he's not going to listen. We can make fun of him all we want. So,
All right.
yeah, it sounds cool. I'm,
A secret.
yeah.
Secret. Whoa.
That's,
SEIKRETS.
Secret.
Green bipedal dromaeosaurid.
It's basically Capcom's version of a chocobo.
It really is a chocobo. I'm not gonna lie.
I think it looks cooler than a chocobo, in my opinion.
Hey. Debatable.
All right.
Ed, what did you see?
Today I got to see Slime Heroes at Whitethorns Games meetup presentation, and it is a Codes game. What that means is it's a cozy Souls like game, top down adventure. What they did today was they presented their co-op mode. They were at last PAX East to show the game off, but they only were showing just single player. So this one they showed off their co-op. So me and Thomas, who is the creator of the game, the lead developer, of it. We played together, and it is such a fun game. You play as the slime, and you uh, there is a story behind it, but when we played the demo, we just kind of got into the action. So first you start off like just with a punch and everything, and you have a dash attack with it. As you progress, you get more power ups to make your character stronger, uh, and then you get more weapons. So uh, and then you do grind and you do level up when you meet one of your friends that heals you. And you can put those the money, that currency of these gems that you get, and you get into it. The funny thing about it is that me and Thomas, we were talking, but at one point we barely couldn't talk because we both were so focused on the game. And it's not a bad thing. And I literally told them, I when I get into a game, my mouth is shut because I'm so focused on the action. And he's just like, I do the same thing sometimes too. So but he was describing a lot of about the game, and it was very entertaining. Um, Playing it definitely, it does have a big Zelda vibe. We was getting our tail kicked by the last boss, even with two players. And the only reason why is that we weren't strong enough really to handle it and everything. But we got halfway done. But there was an issue that he knows about because it's only a demo, that when one of us died, he'd have his whole energy bar filled up, and we was just like, what?
Yeah.
So, but I really had such a fun time playing that game. Um, that like we literally played it for an hour and everything, and because we was just going through a lot of it. I was just like, yeah, I could see this game on Switch. The version that we was playing was on PC, so we were playing with Xbox controllers, but we was playing it with Xbox 360 controllers. And it felt good. It worked very well. It's a little bit floaty here and there because it is slimes and stuff, but I think they still got time to tighten things up, make sure that everything works really well. And they got a huge map. There's going to be different areas with different elements like desert, water, snow, fire, um, earth, like, and everything. And when I say earth, it's just like a lot of rocky hills.
I thought you were naming Captain Planet gems.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what a lot of kind of adventure games are like that. Like it does have a Zelda feel to it, uh, but it's not. It's going to be a little bit punishing. But like once you start putting a lot of gems up, you start learning some of the attacks that these enemies do. You'll be able to get through it. It's like it's not really punishing. I didn't get to hear the music because the music was kind of low and we were doing a lot of fighting. We didn't have headphones or anything at the time. So, but I'm excited to see where this game goes when it gets finished. Um, it's something that people can put on their wish list. But I thoroughly enjoyed Slime Heroes. It's definitely a game that I hopefully comes to Switch or the successor, which a lot of people here at PAX, I told them like, yeah, I can see your game on Switch, and I was just like, but depending on when the successor comes out, I think a lot of these indie games may find themselves on that future console. Hopefully so.
Yeah. A lot of rumblings about that thing here, by the way. If you ask the right people and ask the right questions, they will share things. So it's cool.
Yeah, there is one game that I'm going to talk about later that I actually told the developers it's a game that Xbox and PlayStation 5 needs at this moment. And I'm like, and when I told them that, they was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah." Like they were blown away from what I said, but I'll get to that next time.
Yeah. So today, actually, after our yacht club appointment, I went down to the Atari booth and played some Yars Rising with friend of show James Montagna, who is the game director of the game, and I played it and was talking to him about it. And for those who don't know, Yar's Revenge is the best-selling Atari 2600 game of all time. And then David Lowy, who we interviewed at PAX East, was also there, and he was kind of talking about. I didn't realize there are 12 Yar's games. This is the 13th Yar's game since the Atari 2600. And Yar's Revenge is the best-selling Atari 2600 game of all time. And this is kind of an expanded kind of, whatever lore there is to the Yar's franchise. This is kind of like an expanded, more action adventure style take on the franchise, and it's a beautiful game. It's a Metroidvania this time around. There are a lot of interesting bosses and references to classic Atari IP. James was telling me that the save points in the game are actually modeled after Atari's first arcade cabinets from the 70s. And like you just kind of, when you go to save, you kind of press the buttons and it like pulls up an Atari arcade cabinet. It's super cool, man. It's super, super cool. There's bosses. There's bosses that are referencing classic bosses or classic IP from Atari, classic games like Missile Command and Combat and stuff like that. It's super
Custer's
cool.
Revenge?
What?
Custer's Revenge?
No, not that.
I don't know. There are things that are embargoed that we are not allowed to talk about, but what I can say is that it is super fascinating to see this seemingly unimportant franchise kind of rise up and become this awesome game. The art style is really good. It's the neon kind of teal and pink and purples, and it's really cool. It's really, really cool. I also was very impressed with how genuine James was about working on this, because he's worked with Nintendo on Advance Wars, right? And he was telling me a little bit about working with Intelligent Systems directly, which was super cool, and how the things that he learned developing Advance Wars with Intelligent Systems, and how he would carry those lessons over to Yar's, and how, like, yes, Advance Wars is a strategy game, right? But there are elements of that you can transfer to a Metroidvania. And he said he thinks that what the lessons he learned from Intelligent Systems and Nintendo actually made Yar's Rising a better game. And so James is great. Shout out to James. We gotta have them back. I know Chris reached out to me. We're gonna set up a couple more spotlights with Way Forward for Yar's Rising, Clock Tower, River City Girls 2 DLC stuff.
That's what I'm.
So
Like me and you talked about, Corey, is that it feels like any company that works with Nintendo, they carry that experience into their next game, and they become better as a developer. It's happened to Platinum. It's happened to Mercury's theme with Metroid. Like getting that experience from Nintendo and those developers to carry into other games, that makes people recognize just how informative Nintendo is. Like I it's hard to explain, but I'm just like, you play one developer's game and you'll have an idea, and then you find out what they work with on Nintendo, and then you play a game after they work with Nintendo, you'll definitely see the difference.
yeah, combat, and then the movement and the combat are super fluid too. It kind of feels like a Metroid Dread Light a little bit. It feels like Metroid Dread mixed with Mega Man 11 is what the movement feels like.
Nice.
So, but yeah, Yar's Rising, super interesting revival from Atari. I mean, we've talked about it before. Atari's doing some really interesting things with their old IP, and it's good. So, Steph, you're back up.
All right. Switch gears a little bit. I'm going to talk about Dread XP. Dread XP brought four maybe 5, 4 games, horror games to PAX West. I am going to be playing Heartworm tomorrow or the following day, but I did get to play 2 games yesterday. Amanda the Adventure 2 and also the Lacerator.
I
So
think I'm playing the other two tomorrow. Or the
nice.
horror games.
Nice. Yeah, Amanda the Adventure 2 was the one I had my eye on because I watched Markiplier play Amanda the Adventure. Because that's how I manage horror games is I watch other people play it first. Because I'm a weenie. But I have been slowly playing more and more horror games. I beat the original Silent Hill and sat in and talked with Dave Jackson on Tales from the Backlog podcast. So when I saw that Amanda the Adventure Part 2 was going to be at PAX West, I'm like, I'm going to be a big girl and play this game by myself. So instead of watching someone play it. So the demo starts off with you alone in the library. I've been told that this is a direct continuation of the first game. You find these books scattered in the library to figure out a code to unlock your first VHS tape. You play that, and it's a similar gameplay where you see Amanda asking you questions. You type in your answer, and she responds based off your answer. A lot of glitches, a lot of creepiness, but the demo ended way before I could even figure out where this was even going. So I'm very excited. Comes out fall of this year, so I will be playing that. And then just quickly, the Lacerator, since I was there and it was kind of on the slow side because it was Friday and it wasn't chaotic yet, I decided to give that a shot. The Lacerator, I believe, is made by a solo dev, and it has a great comedic spin while also being having the style of the original Resident Evil and Silent Hill, where it's tank controls, PS1 style graphics, but you are an 80s porn star. And you somehow get knocked out, kidnapped, and you wake up in a dingy, dirty cell.
Sounds like pseudocoded conversations coming back around again.
You're perpetually smoking a cigarette while you're walking around trying to escape. Definitely, find the object, go back, try to find your way out, then get another object. But place is full of traps. Do you go for the gun right away? There's some pros and cons depending on what you do. You could lose a limb. You never know.
But you get a gun.
But the second, because I think I died a second time I went through it. I bypassed the gun, and I found a way to turn off the trap mechanism. So, and then I ended up facing off with the Lacerator, I believe. But there's just a lot of humor, morbid humor that I really like. So I was willing to overlook the tank controls. I know why it was done. It was done intentionally. It's this particular style. But I ended up actually liking that too. So I will be back to experience more from Dread XP. They're a great bunch of people over there and a blast to talk to.
Cool. Pat.
Right. Well, something I got to play today that really impressed me was Ender Magnolia.
Yeah.
This is a Metroidvania. It's a sequel of Ender Lilies, which came out a couple years ago. This one takes place a couple decades later on like a different part of the Ender universe. But it is very, very beautiful, like in a very ruinous way, but the art is just absolutely gorgeous. You play as this girl. I think her name is Lilac, and she wants to help these creatures called Homunculi, which are kind of humanoid creations that have been abandoned, and because of their abandonment, that they either like broken down or I didn't quite get the full gist of the story, but she wants to help them. So you run into one who, becomes your companion, because if you've ever played an Ender Lilies, your character is incapable of attacking. You're a kid. You don't have any like real strengths other than the fact that you can roll. All right.
I'm just kidding.
Well, unfortunately, rolling doesn't exactly help fight the weird creatures. So you get, in this case, the Homunculi, and they join you, and they are assigned to a button. And the first one you get, obviously, is just your standard combo XXX slash they're dead. Um, and then you fight a boss who, after you beat them, you kind of purify them, and they become another combo. And this one is a punch thrust, but then it's got a cooldown behind it. So the idea is that you will eventually run into, I think I talked to the CEO, and he says one of the things they are doing is they are limiting the amount of companions that you get in this one, but in return, they're going to be deeper. They're going to have more abilities and attacks that you can assign, and become more integrated to the story than what Ender Lily did with their spirits. So, but yeah, the music is and the sound design was just absolutely superb. It was haunting. A lot of good instruments going on in it. The combat very fluid, even streaming the combos and being able to dodge. It's very responsive. And the cool thing is, even though yeah, this is kind of like a 2D Metroidvania Souls game, it does have the ability to customize how difficult you want it to be,
Cool.
using sliders. So maybe give yourself some more energy, or lower enemy attacks, stuff like that. So
That's cool.
yep, it's coming out in 2025, but it's definitely something that will be on my radar.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that game looks awesome. I was talking to Roger about it today. He played it.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool looking game. I think I might swing by and just play it because it looks good tomorrow. Ed?
So I played Haruka Beyond Stars at Playism booth, and this is the game that I was talking about earlier. It's an anime-inspired 3D RPG action game. Think of Ni no Kuni and Ni no Kuni 2. It has that feel to it. From what I play, it's so flawless. It's so 10 out of 10 that I don't know why the game is not coming out to 2026. Like the demo was so tight. The only thing I told them was you just need to jump to have be a little higher, and that was really it. So what happens is there's a spaceship that crash lands into your area in the lake. You hear the noise with your companion robot, and you guys go out on this adventure trying to find out what that noise was. You have this red hood with a hammer, so you use for attacks. When you get into an enemy, it'll start the battle, and you can just start rolling on it, or you can press the B button. Because I was playing with the Xbox controller to dash out the way for it. The A button, you can jump. Then you'll get like an ultimate attack with it. At some points in times while fighting, the Y button will come up, and if you hit it at the right time, you get a strong special attack with it. Later on, they'll teach you things throughout the tutorial, and so I got to the ship. I seen this girl who was dancing on the lake. So she's some kind of alien from another planet. She was in pink, and she was kicking her toes. She was twirling, just doing all this magical dance stuff. And I'm like, what the world? I'm like, okay. But then you go into the place, and when you see what's going on, the girl is back in a human form, and she's standing on the couch. She has a butler with a big mustache robot saying she needs star fruit to be able to speak, because she didn't have no voice because she was hungry. So you go out to a certain point on the map, and it'll have, what I like about it, it'll have navigation and tell you how far you are and where you need to go to get to it. So it'll be like it's 300 feet, so you gotta go, all 300 feet to get there or something. And then you fight the boss. If you beat the boss, you get the fruit, and then you'll end up back with the girl, um, and then she joins your team. But tight controls, it was literally running at 60 frames. It never dropped. It was so. We've been saying this throughout PAX, buttery smooth. Um, that I was just like, how is this an indie game? And why is it coming out to not until 2026? Like I told them that it was a 10 out of 10. The lady was just like, really? She's like, I never heard no one say that. I was just like, because they're not recognizing how a game so smooth like this, when you're playing the demo and people are telling you why this game is not out, that lets you know that you're doing a fantastic job for it. So it's an action adventure role playing game that I really think that Xbox and PlayStation 5 needs, because right now, I mean, they don't have that RPG hunger that people are having for Switch. I'm not knocking no systems about that, but RPGs are, it's just a big genre on Switch from all different kind of from all different kind of companies. And if this game can land on Xbox or land on PS5, there's gonna be people willing to play it. Like, it's so beautiful, and even there was no clipping or anything with the anime, with the look. So like Haruku, Beyond the Stars, definitely is a must watch. I hate that it's 2026. That's the only really downside to it. But man, if you guys get a chance to play it, you'll be like, okay, I understand what Ed is saying. I know it's just only coming out for PC at this time, but uh, in the future they may be looking at consoles, and I asked them just like, hopefully you guys can get this game on Switch successor, because the moment you drop, if people love your game as digital, the moment you say there's a physical release, it's going to get sold out. Like it's that good. Like the demo could give a lot of games here at PAX a run for this money. Not Zelda, but a lot of other games they could get a run for this money.
Not Zelda. Cool. Sounds like a cool game.
It really is.
Yeah, how about you, Corey?
So I snuck over to the Capcom booth tonight and played a little Marvel vs. Capcom collection. I played X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which is my personal favorite, probably because it was just the first one I played. And I played some Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and it's I got stomped because I suck at fighting games, but it felt really cool to see these games on modern consoles, because I mean, they're classics, and the licensing alone is probably a nightmare and all that stuff, but like seeing like classic 90s X-Men fight the Street Fighter characters and have their their alt stuff in there, and the tag team stuff is in there, and then when you get the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you see how X-Men vs. Street Fighter to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, how the games have evolved. Like, you don't really think about it because they're all classic fighting games, but like just the animations and the graphics alone are an incredible leap, and mechanically sound, very arcade accurate. Just a really cool experiencing those characters again, and those games running on modern consoles. It was running on PS5. Well, I was using a DualSense to play, so I could be PC, I guess.
I have a feeling that the PS5 version is going to be the one used that evil probably next year. Once that game come out, because I'm like, yeah, they're going to try to bring Marvel. If they could bring Marvel vs. Capcom to Evil, I think Sony gonna be like, we want you guys to make sure that it's on PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm sure Evo will probably make some classic fighting event for that specifically, because these games are beloved, iconic. I mean, Evo has side tournaments for these games all the time, even if they're not on the main stage. So Uh, it was cool. I didn't play it, but I watched the Terry Bogard DLC for Street Fighter 6 and really cool edition.
That
Um,
that line stay
they had
long.
90s Terry Bogard
Mm.
versus modern Terry Bogard. It was ridiculous. It's
Oh,
like,
cool.
I'm shocked that Capcom and Nintendo were able to get Terry Bogard in their games. I mean, I know.
well, the SNK collection was just announced, and they said they wanted to revive Capcom versus SNK fighting stuff, and the that one that came out for PC digitally only, the SNK fighting versus Capcom something.
The one that just came out.
Yeah. But regardless, they said they
Yeah.
wanted to revive the SNK versus Capcom fighting games, even if they're not great. Because I don't think people really like a lot of them, but there are a few classic ones.
Mm.
So I think SNK really wants to revive their stature as an arcade fighter, and what better way to do it than with top of the class in Street Fighter? It might not be the most popular copies sold, but it is the king of fighters. No pun intended, I guess.
To be honest with you, if Capcom is doing it right, and sorry WB, if the Mortal Kombat games are not hitting like they're hitting, Capcom's gonna win
Well,
this,
Mortal Kombat 1 did sell 10 million units, so let's.
yeah, it did, but I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
still more people talking about Capcom.
Yeah.
Like Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
I seen and heard more about that over MK1. I'm not knocking,
Yeah.
I'm knocking them, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, you look at the reactions with just last week's direct
Yeah.
with the All-Star fighting with Power Stones and Power Stone 2 coming
Mhm.
out, and then they said they want to bring more versus games, and SNK, like, they've been dropping like heat with like King of Fighters and all of their fighting games. So like, if all of that is coming in, that's going to be a big word to the Mortal Kombat. Definitely in the fighter community, because nobody's going to care if MK1 is not stepping up the plate.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I definitely think MK11 was better received than MK1 for sure, but regardless, Street Fighter's DLC lineup seems pretty legit, and it's really cool to watch people that are really good at Street Fighter play Street Fighter.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, that's some dedication.
I wonder, will they re-release Capcom versus SNK?
It's probably a plan. It's probably on a whiteboard somewhere. So yeah, that was my experience at Capcom. It was super cool. I say we do one more game each, and then maybe some memorable stuff, maybe outside of games that we saw, and then wrap it up.
All right, sounds
Yeah.
good.
Stephanie?
All right. I guess the one I'll pick, 'cause I know there's just a lot more that I need to play to talk about maybe another episode. But I was really impressed by the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 demo.
Yeah.
I mean, it already looked pretty good, and the first game was pretty successful.
Kinda.
Pretty. But I got to speak to someone from Warhorse Studios, and he provided a great setup, so it'll help for those that have played the original or have not. So he really cool guy, and he was going back and forth between me and another media person just to make sure we know where to go, what to do to ensure we have the best demo playing experience, which I appreciate. And he was really nice about it because I struggled in the beginning, and he was nice. I kept apologizing. I'm like, I'm really bad at video games. No, it was very immersive. The graphics were good. The voice acting was good. Took me a while to kind of get used to the fighting, like sword fighting. It's a bit different. But they did say that the combat has improved since the first game. They really kind of smoothed that out. So
I have heard that for sure, because I remember the biggest complaint of the first one was the combat.
okay. So yeah, that was one of the three pillars that they focused on. One was like an expanded map. Second one was improved combat, and the third was like just a lot of good content. I put good in quotes because I haven't experienced it, so I can't speak for myself. such as side quests and mini games and stuff like that. So I played through a mission. I failed my first sword fight, but then I won my second sword fight. I got to sneak around. I got caught lockpicking, so I had to bribe this cranky old lady. But yeah, this one looks promising.
Cool. I've heard a lot of good things. I know a lot of people are excited for it.
Yes.
Definitely. That first one was a surprise hit, I think, and people are hungry for more.
Yeah. Very immersive. If you want to live that good old medieval experience, this is the one to look out for.
Yeah.
Good old bohemian medievalness.
Yeah. Speaking of bohemian, Pat.
Oh man, I really want to talk about E's Memoirs, The Oath of Philgana, but it is PAX, so I will focus more on an indie title.
You don't have to.
I have to.
Ease is pretty big right now.
Yeah, you got Nordic coming out next month. Well, next month after you hear this, it's October. And anyways, and then Xseed said that they're bringing in the third one, which is The Oath of Philgana, which if you played Origins, it's very, very similar to E's Origins. That it's that style. But I actually want to talk about What the Car, which is a game by Triband Studios, and it's a small team it's a small Dutch team, so they it's a sequel to a game called What the Golf, and the reason they did What the Golf is because none of them knew anything about golf, so they're like, let's make a game about golf. And then it just becomes more and more like exaggerated with like the things that you do with this game. And so they decided what else can they work on. They created a VR game called What the Bat, because again, they didn't know too much about baseball. They're Dutch. They don't have baseball in
What is
Dutch.
it, cricket? Your flat bats and your weird days-long games. Weirdos.
Yep. So the third one here, What the Car, none of them really have driver's license because they bike everywhere.
Oh.
Okay.
So they're like, let's make a racing game without any knowledge of cars. So like one of the very first thing to get the game started is you honk. It's cute because you got like a little bear that's kind of like guiding you. It's like, honk if you love bears, and and then like you honk, it's like, oh, thank you, and but when you honk to get started, the wheels just automatically drop off the car, and the car sprouts legs and starts walking off.
That's funny. Adam Gumbert of Respawn Aim Fire was talking about this on our YouTube segment stuff, and he was laughing while he was talking about it. He said it was so funny.
No, because the very first one is just get to the goal, on this like curvy thing while while you're walking your car.
Yeah.
And so it's called Car with Legs. That's the first mini game. Then the next mini game they exaggerated more with car with too many legs. And so there's like legs literally sprouting, and so the car is more like acting like a wheel itself. And then it's like, well, let's do car with really big legs. And so these legs just kind of like jump, and you can almost literally jump to the other end of the map.
Wow.
With this. And then they start adding rockets to the car. Then another thing was car on office chairs.
Oh, okay.
Which simulates like driving it on ice. And then to play off of that, they're like, it was a mission where you're on office chairs, but your car is sick. So now, like, your car is literally sneezing and shooting itself to a
that's
bed.
cute.
Nice.
So, they have promised it's gonna have like a pretty nonsensical story, kind of like What the Golf did, because in like an open world with the where was I going? The thing with What the Golf is like literally like it stopped being a golf game, and there are parts where it's like a Mario game and like other like things going on depending on whatever the theme of the land. And they promised What the Car is going to be very similar in that regard. So It's gonna be more than just like little mini games leading on to little mini games. It's gonna be like themes to these mini games. But it is out on Apple Arcade right now. It's coming out on PC here on September 19th, I think. And if it does well enough, maybe we'll get this one on the Switch.
Sounds like a great Switch game.
Yeah, sounds like the perfect Switch game.
Yeah, that's what I told them. But, again, small developer, so they got to work up to that.
Yeah,
It's a little harder. The game was originally designed for mobile, so, getting it to mobile to PC and then to Switch is, they're reworking things to get that to work.
You
Yeah.
wish list that game on Steam.
do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gosh.
Ed.
So this is a questionable content.
Oh, no.
Discussion I'm about to have. A Kimbot. This is a 3D action platformer in the realm of Ratchet and Clank. The game is already out, so
I played that too. All right.
it is questionable content because the camera is bad
Mm.
in this game. And what I mean about that is that when you're playing it and you're shooting, a lot of that is okay. It's not the greatest. But when you hit the left trigger, like kind of to zoom in, like you're doing over the shoulder, it zooms in too much inside of your head and your arm. So trying to shoot, you could barely see the enemy. So you're getting like hit in and everything. And there was one part that it zoomed on just in my ear. And I'm like, what the world is going on? So I was just like, there were some fights that I had to do over and over and over again, because there was like some sections didn't have cover, and they threw like 8 enemies at me, and without realizing what I was doing, the game. If hopefully if this is the first level of the game that you get into before the action start, it needs to have a better tutorial system. It don't teach you that you can switch weapons. It don't teach you that you got special weapons when you hit the Y button, and it don't even tell you that you could cut that off or anything. But the moment you press Y, if you use it up, that's it. It doesn't have an on or off switch. It doesn't tell you that you actually had a melee attack, like, because everything is just shooting at you. You can get energy, but you have to lift up your camera or your reticle to even shoot at it. Well, if you try to do that, it's a possibility that you could fall off the ledge or fall into the water and die, or get hit by an enemy that you did not see. It's just so much stuff that it doesn't teach you, that it's like, this is literally unplayable.
Mm.
Because it's unfair to the player that you place an expectation that they already know what to do, and you have given nobody any clue on how to play your game, how things work, what weapons that you could use. Like, even Insomniac, if you're gonna try to take from the best to help make your game, learn what they're doing. Insomniac teaches you on how to play their games. The Ratchet and Clank games, they teach you on how to do it. Even when you're using a certain gun, you're leveling that gun up. It does not do that for this game. So I understand what they were trying to go for, but I'm like, this is listed just after the first level, and then the car mechanics. I'm just like, well, this is undrivable, but I guess it had to do. It literally was a questionable concept. Like, it's a game that if it's on sale for $2.99 on Steam, go ahead and get it. If it's higher than $3, do not touch this game. I literally left. I was nice about it because they just gave me the controller and just walked away. Just nothing. No disrespect to the people there, but I'm like, this is a terrible game.
I didn't have as bad of an experience with it, but I do wonder, based off of your feedback, that maybe this just wasn't the best slice to demo with. Maybe they should have started with the tutorial section. For me, I got used to the controls relatively quickly, but when you described the perspective, I wonder if that was the reason why I was dying very frequently, because I thought I was just bad at games. But if you were struggling, like well, let me start off with I didn't mind the basic controls. Like I found out you could double jump, dash. That felt kind of fun. Like I liked maneuvering in the environment. Um, it did have that ratchet and clank, and then your sidekick is an obnoxious, annoying creature like Daxter.
Yeah.
So I kind of get where that's coming from. There's definitely going to be a theme there because later on you see a bunch of worker robots demanding to go home and not work all the time, and then they got destroyed and murdered.
So this is a problem with it. When I hit the LT to go to third person, while moving the analog stick without even touching it, it switched my character to the other side. So while I'm supposed to be shooting on the left, it just switched it to the right. I'm moving up. Never press L3. Never press that direction button in. Just kept messing me up. So it's throwing my it would throw my it throw my attack off, and then it's blocking part of everybody that I'm supposed to see in my view that's now hidden. So it's not tight gameplay, and the game is out. Like this is what you get when you play the demo. What you play in the demo is what you're getting in the full game. So I don't know if this game needs some major updates. I wish this game was an early access game so they could fix a lot of it. But I came away with just like, this is questionable content and this is terrible. So,
Well, I'm going to end on a much brighter note than you did. A game we all play that I'm shocked nobody mentioned yet. Astrobot.
Because we
I
were
was
saving
thinking-
it for last. The best for last.
It's it might be my favorite game on the floor besides Zelda that I've played. It's polished, it's fun, it's funny, the controls are tight. Astrobot is charming as hell. The collectibles are fun. It's just a love letter to PlayStation in all the best ways. And I don't remember if I was telling you guys or if I was talking to somebody else, but this kind of feels like Sony's attempt at Smash Brothers, and I'm not talking from like a gameplay perspective, but just as like a love letter to PlayStation history, which we saw in the VR title and we saw in Astro's Playroom that came with PlayStation
I was
5.
talking about it.
Yeah, yeah, it must have been us. And the fact, something's going on out there. We were talking like just the way that they're doing what I think they wanted Little Big Planet to be initially, with the costumes and the kind of fun things you could do in there, but this feels much tighter. I think Astrobot is a really a much better character than Sackboy in my opinion. I mean Sackboy's cute and everything, but it kind of felt like Sony continued with Ratchet and Clank instead of Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper for a reason, and that's kind of what Astro feels like. Is like they're I'm really intrigued with what Sony's doing moving forward with trying to approach a younger audience, right? Because we talked about it with Lego Horizon being on Switch. Like Horizon is not exactly a franchise you want kids to be playing, right? But Legos are approachable. Switch is definitely kid friendly, and Astrobot seems like another attempt at trying to pull in the child audience, or at least the parents who have nostalgia for PlayStation, because that's something that PlayStation hasn't done very well in the past, or at least found something that could latch on, right? PlayStation's done a great job growing up with their audience, but they haven't done a great job of garnering new fans. And so that's something Nintendo has done exponentially well, is bring in new fans every generation. You know.
Nintendo knows how to market to everybody.
Yeah.
Sony.
I think Sony is catching up with
Yeah.
Astrobot.
I think Astrobot is that key there. That's what I thought of. I'm like, my son would like this. I would like this. I'm not going to repeat, everything that you've just said, but basically I agree. And I think this is the kind of, I don't want to call it a break, but this is something that Sony needs.
It's not a sad dad simulator.
Yeah. I mean, hey, there's a place for those, but I think Astrobot's just right. And again, it's just showing love and pride of their own IPs.
I think the problem with it is the marketing of this game. Is Sony going to go hard on it? And hard on it meaning that being consistent. If you know that you are getting sales from it, if you know that it has a high Metacritic, is Sony going to continue to market this game? Because if it comes out, and it does, I'm gonna say 4 million copies and stuff, and they don't go and they don't push it further, that's gonna cause a problem. Because that's one thing with Sony is that they teen to mature games sell a lot, but then the marketing is not there. It just literally disappears at the release. And if you already know that people are willing to buy your game and get the system for your game, you need to market. Sorry to go back to Nintendo, but look what Yoshi's Crafted World had been out for like years, and then they bring it up and start marketing that game.
I think Sony's doing a pretty good job of marketing Astrobot though, because as someone who has Paw Patrol on a lot in our house, I see Astrobot commercials during Paw Patrol episodes, and because like Disney Junior definitely has Nintendo commercials in between those whatever. I've seen Astrobot commercials during NFL games, like preseason games too, which is huge because the NFL is a huge market. And I don't know, but like you said, after release they got to do a consistent job of pushing it until their holiday titles start coming out.
They literally got a Game of the Year nomination on their hand. Do not stop marketing. I can understand do not market that game like close to October. I can understand that, but I'm like, if the game comes out and you stop pushing it, that's gonna be, that just says that whatever we get, that's it. No, you want to get more. You want to get your system sales, because trust me, when Echoes of Wisdom come out, Nintendo gonna be hustling that game out. They're gonna be showing commercials, trailers. They're gonna be reminding you the game is out here, the game is out there. They may even put out a downloadable demo to make sure that, okay, we don't buy it, but you want to know something about it, download this demo. Oh, the demo's that good? Let me go get some.
I mean, they have one. It's Astro's Playroom.
No, I'm talking about Nintendo. I'll just use that as an example, because I'm just like, if people download the demo, and this is the thing about it, whatever the MPD name is right now, if it's week after week after week after week that game is selling, or month after month that game is selling, when I was talking about Echoes of Wisdom, that's going to just show Sony that you can have the same thing here if you just kept marketing this game. Because I mean, Astrobot is once again buttery smooth. It's pure joy with that game.
Now, I definitely agree that the marketing's good, but I almost feel like they don't have to push it, because one, Sony fans are starving right now. There is a famine going on in the PlayStation library, and this is basically like their thing. It's like, here you go, here's a little bit of food for you, and everyone is just gonna grab it so that they have some new Sony exclusive for their system.
Yeah.
People have a love for Astrobot because of the demo. I mean, of the game that came out before it. Like, there's just a love for it. And like, just look at the state of play. No one was barely talking about any of those games. Once they reveal Astrobot, that's all you see trending on Twitter.
I think an awesome marketing strategy after it comes out, actually. Remember when Deadpool 2 came out and they replaced all of Fox's movies with Deadpool covers?
Yeah.
They could do that in the PlayStation Store with Astrobot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's
Like,
funny,
it got-
they kind of like were doing that just with the little introductions
Yeah.
to the with the PlayStation logo.
Yeah, yeah, but they could really like the little square box. They could release little Astrobot versions of it because Assassin's Creed did their like anniversary ones the same way, and then they switched them back. Well, PlayStation can definitely do that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that'd be super cute and super cool and memorable, to be honest. So
Well, speaking of Metacritic, I'm banking on it because that game's on my Metacritic draft. I
Yeah.
just checked.
Like I said, if that game goes lower than 90, I'm going to be shocked.
yeah, Astrobot's super cool. I'm excited for it. Let's go around the horn one more time. Talk about something that was super memorable during PAX because I know we've met a lot of people, saw a lot of cool things happening. Stephanie, you can go first.
I'm going to pick probably the most obvious for me, and that was my participation in video game trivia, hosted by the awesome Jacob McCourt. And, you know, not just being part of a panel, but the panel itself was an excellent selection of people. Everyone was so much fun. We have Roger,
Roger.
Jill, right? Adam, Asa, who's my partner, Baron. Who else am I missing?
Adam.
Adam, yes. No, I said Adam.
Did
I
you?
said Adam.
Yeah, you said Adam, Asa,
Adam,
Baron, Jill, and
Yeah.
Okay, good. I did.
That other
You
guy.
were the sixth person.
Oh, yeah.
You forgot the seventh person, though.
The audience.
The one who won.
The audience won, which that was probably the best outcome. But it was just a lot of fun, even though it's kind of late for me. But it just was a great experience as being on a panel and also just interacting with some of the best personalities that I've met in years. So I'll
Yeah.
forever remember that.
It was awesome. Really enjoyed watching you up there, and it was good. It was great for you. It was great for the team. It was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone that came to support me.
You're welcome.
Pat,
I haven't had anything like super like the big Ben Starr moment, which
What?
he's running around, you know, PAX this year.
I know. Tried to find him like earlier today.
You know what? I think the whole fact that there's two buildings just kind of makes it a hell of a lot harder to find people.
Yeah.
But I will say some moments that I really enjoyed running into Jenny Kamchika again because she gives really good hugs. Like she got me from behind and
Whoa. That's not wholesome. Sorry.
yeah. You know, it's a nice surprise, you know, to just see and like just see the warmth that just radiates from her and just like even though again we are such small fry in this, you know, in this pond, but like she like knows who we are and she's like super excited to see us and
Yeah.
you know it's I like it, you know, it makes me feel like
Yeah.
special and noticeable.
Jenny's a wonderful human being.
I
Yep.
love you.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just running into really cool peeps that we barely get to ever see. You know, you guys, for instance.
You're all right.
Yeah. We got to meet Chris from Toge, the CEO of Toge. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have dinner, but plans changed, and honestly, I'm kind of glad that they did because that was not a good night for me. Yeah, just you know, just running into those people that you normally just have those chat with online, that getting to see them in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Ed?
Definitely talking to all the developers, like all the interviews, and creative leads that I get to meet and talk to. One of the good ones I had today was Corey Kemper of Myth War Entertainment. We literally just got to talk about art, video games that he got into, PC. We actually had a really great talk about snacks and everything. Talking about how he grew up with games. Like his dad got him into gaming, um, and everything. And it's just like seeing all the artwork that you see in the game, and kind of like on the like in that area, he did himself. Like he drew all of that,
That's awesome.
and um, it was just amazing sitting down with them and getting to talk. I got to transcribe the audio for the interview, but I just that 22 minutes just sitting down with them and talking, and pretty much all the developers that I sit down with and talk. Like, of course, it always feel like a podcast, but it always feel good to hear their answers, and it's so relaxing and normal. It's just like we have no regular talk and everything. So, but definitely Corey Kemper from Midward Entertainment, I just so much enjoy. And shout out to Jesse and Dave with with their game too, their mobile game, Myth Wonder, I think, with their geolocation game, getting to talk to them about going from AAA to indie and making your dream game, and then talking to Dave, who used to do action games, and just talk about man stylized action, Xenoblade, and things like that. It was just so much fun. I just love. I think that's what the one thing I love about PAX. Yes, I do love about the games, but when I got a motor mouth, but when I get to talking to people and like learning and asking them questions and just getting the response and having that connection through our discussions, it feels I always leave away so energetic and so happy and so surprised just being able to talk to them, learn about their game and about them. So yeah.
Cool. Man, I don't really know where to start or how to consolidate all this. So day one, actually today also, I hardly played any games. I was like scrambling to play games because I was just trying to just walk around and take it all in. And while I was taking it all in, aside from all the people that we already know, like, you know, Baron and Roger and Grayson and everybody, right? Like, I tried to be more outgoing towards people who we don't normally interact with, including some pretty notable names, I would say, in the creator space, like, you know, Alex Van Aken. We ran into him, formerly of Game Informer, launching Viewport Video on Patreon. Super nice guy, very helpful, honestly, with like video stuff. I asked him some questions about video stuff, and he's just a genuine, kind person. I was out on the floor and I met Kit and Krista, formerly of Nintendo Minute. And now, obviously, they've been doing their own thing for a couple years now. Big fan of their podcasts every week. Couldn't have been nicer. They were genuinely just. They couldn't have been nicer. And like, you know, there are creators that you feel like you know better than others.
Yes.
I don't know what their personality is outside of their podcast, right? Like, they have a whole YouTube channel and a whole community that, like, you know, but I don't involve myself in that, right? But, you know, I don't know why it shocked me that they were so nice, but like, they were incredibly nice. And I just like, I try to do one of those quick, like, I know you're here to see games. Just want to let you know, big fan. Have a nice day. And they like stopped me to have a conversation, and I was like, they didn't need to do that, you know. And the other one that really stuck out to me was Greg Miller.
Yeah.
You know, Kind of Funny has been around for a while. I think you could point to Kind of Funny for a lot of people. Inspired them to start podcasts, whether you enjoy their content or not, whether you know, support them since day one, or, you know, dropped off somewhere. And, you know, Greg was not what I expected You know, like you always hear their community say, "Oh, we met Greg. He was like the nicest person ever," and you're like, "Okay, well, you know, he's personality. Like, you never know." He wasn't there. Yes, today he hosted the Civ panel, but yesterday he wasn't there for work. His wife is there because she runs a publisher, an indie game publisher called Papagendo, and so
That's where I was at. That's where
uh-huh.
Pandic is at. So I was playing one of the games. I think Hurling
Mhm.
was the game that me and Nelly was playing.
Mhm. Yeah, and you know, he was there with his son, walking around the floor, and I actually ran into him at the Corgi booth, and he was like in line getting ready to play, and I went up to Johnson. I'm like, "Do you know who's about to play your game?" Because I said hi to them already, and I saw him in line. I went back to their booth. It's like, "Johnson, do you know who's about to play your game?" He's like, "No." I was like, I pulled him up on Twitter and showed him. He has like 1.5 million followers, right? Like he's massive. I was like, "You better pay attention to him playing your game." And he let his he was playing with his kid, and um, I think I freaked Johnson out on accident. It's like, yeah, I mean, you know, it's scary, you know.
Oh.
I mean, you got the biggest video game influencer now.
I know
you
on
know.
the planet, pretty much, essentially. Um, and so I was walking around. I debated whether to say anything because he was with his kid, right? And so I ran into him again. I think in the PAX Rising area, and I was like, I'm just gonna say something real quick. I'm just like, and so I was like, "Excuse me, Greg. You know, I'm a big fan. You're the reason why I started podcasting and trying my own things. And you know, I don't want to take up your time. Just, you know, have a good show. Thanks." You know, and I turned to walk away. He grabbed my shoulder, and he's like, "No, wait. Well, we can talk." And he was like, he like shook my hand, asked me my name, asked me about Boss Rush, like just a genuine interaction,
Mm-hmm.
which is, you know, I don't know why at this point I'm shocked because we've had so many genuine interactions with other creators, big and small, right? But like, I mean, he's huge. Like you could put everybody's followers at PAX together and maybe still not have as many followers as he has, right? And you know, it was just, it's like there's a lot of people on a list that have inspired me over the years. You know, we met the Iron Lords at PAX East, which were a pretty big inspiration for me. The old Giant Bomb guys at PAX East, which were really a huge inspiration to me. But when Greg and Colin, Tim, and Nick left IGN to form Kind of Funny, that was like the kick in the ass that I needed to try something on my own, which I had wanted to try forever and just never wanted to, you know.
There's a point where he could be a genuine nice person, but he also didn't need to stop you to talk.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's pretty awesome, and I don't know the answer to why we have this expectation that these people with tons of followers don't want
Right.
to talk to us. I guess
Probably
it's
because of like actor mentality. Like
Yeah.
you see a lot of big names that are like,
Yeah.
stay away from me.
Yeah.
Or
And I understand that like this is a convention and there's going to be
Mhm.
some sort of like expectation that people are going to come up to talk to you, especially if you're involved in the space, right?
Yeah.
But like he was holding his son. They were playing games together. Like
You don't want to.
I didn't want to interrupt their time, you know, and the fact that he stopped and was talking to me with his son and holding his son for 5 minutes was like, you know, it was pretty cool. And he took our business card and he told me to email him. And I mean, I don't know if anything will ever happen, but like that was like a nice way to end the thing, you know. And then also today, highlight, Pat and I went and saw Yacht Club, and I got to interview Sean Velasco, which was like, oh my god, it was awesome. It was super cool. Talked a lot about Shovel Knight and spin-offs and the venture into publishing and how fortunate they are to be in the position they are because of Shovel Knight's success, and a little bit about Mina. I didn't dig too hard. Sorry, everybody. I didn't want the runaround answer, so I just left those questions out. But it was really nice to learn about.
I hope that if we do get a spotlight with Yacht Club, I want to be on that one. I'm gonna call it in the work because I'm just like I want to be able to talk to them and be like, "Do you refund this?" You know.
Yeah, so that was a really top tier interaction for me too. Thanks for keeping Celia distracted, Pat, with cat
Oh
pictures.
yeah, no. Silly and I, like, literally while you guys were interviewing, we're like flipping through each other's cat pictures.
Yeah. I mean, we ended up staying 20 minutes over. I was almost late for my way forward appointment.
Okay.
But it was worth it, you know. It was super cool. So meeting people. Also the fan that recognized me and asked for Stephanie and LaRon was super cool. That was cool. So PAX, the last two PAXs have been super memorable in general, I think. I don't know. There's something special about these things.
Yes.
It's the interaction, it's the community, it's that everybody is seeing equal at PAX, and you might be scared to talk to somebody new. Once you start a conversation, once you guys start recognizing what you both love about things, what you love about games, cosplay, whatever, you are forming a new friendship. You're forming kind of like, I won't say community, but you're forming something that we feel safe and relatable, because it's just like they love the stuff that I love, and or they know something that I don't know, so they're educating me and vice versa. There's just like everybody's on the same equal lane. It's just, I think that's what I love about PAX. It's just like there's no judgment, there's no fighting over stuff. You're like, oh, you like Devil May Cry, or you like Rune Factory. You hear, oh, it's a big lot for a farm sim. That's cool to see.
Yeah, and as long, especially Ed, you and I, as long as we've been doing this, kind of being in the same realm as people that we've looked up to for so long, and then not just that, but like, you know, bringing in the new people with Trina at Gamerheads and Tristan, the kid that was sat with us tonight, and like that was cool. In, you know, seeing everybody kind of help him out, because we've all been in that space where nobody helped us, right? And you know, trying to jumpstart this kid's kind of thing was, you know, Baron and Roger and everybody, just in Grayson introducing himself to him was like, I don't know, it was cool.
And you know, this is PAX's 20th year, and I just hope that it keeps going strong and does not meet the fate that E3 had. But we'll, you know, that's an entirely different discussion. It's just, there's a certain energy to PAX, and I just keep hoping that it maintains its momentum.
Yep. But I think we're gonna end it there. We'll have more to say in the coming weeks. We have some time off after PAX, but content will keep coming. So how it's gonna kind of go is the next episode after this will be our discussion with Nick Apostolides, the voice actor for Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil. There will be the interview segment, audio for podcast listeners, and then we will be back with normal episodes, in like 10 days, I guess, after this airs. So
and I'm mostly back.
Yeah,
I took a bit of a hiatus during summer.
Yep.
And unless there's an occasional extra shift I need to pick up, I plan to be back in full force. So watch out.
Well, Stephanie, you know the show's not the same without you. So
But you guys have had some fantastic guests while I was away. So good job, peoples.
we have had some pretty cool people. So
And we will still continue to have really cool people.
yeah, we'll all still be there.
Yep. And the next time we do this, there's going to be a shit ton of games that we're going to have to talk about, because
we'll be able to talk about Zelda in full. We will talk about Yars Rising in full. a bunch of other cool things. So
I won't be there. Right.
Astrobot in full,
yeah,
because that game will be out by our next episode,
I'll
and
be on the Nintendo Power Block. So.
Visions of Mana,
okay. We could have like a whole Game Informer list of games coming out. So,
Emo, the Smiling Man,
yeah.
Mio, sorry, Mio, Emo, the Smiling Man.
Wow, that's irony right there.
Wow.
On that note, Ed, Pat, Stephanie, thank you for your time as always. Being with you guys has been the highlight of my year.
It's extra special when we're
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah. So, everybody out there, thank you so much for watching and or listening. Check out our PAX coverage on bossrush.net. A lot of articles going out, a lot of interviews, a lot of segment pieces going out.
Insider scoop.
Yeah. Subscribe on YouTube, all that stuff. Patreon.com/bossrush network. Thanks for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ready?
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/bossrush network. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Deering, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.